Yes, I do plan to vote in this midterm. I think that it is very important for people to vote. My mindset for this midterm is a little bit different than last midterm because last midterm I was kind of voting purely on Republican or Democrat. This midterm, I want to vote for the candidate that I think would be best suited for the office and not necessarily Republican or Democrat. I know that it's important to vote with Democrat or Republican, but I also believe that Trump hasn't done the best job at running the country, and I think that maybe it's time for him to step aside and maybe another Republican or even a Democrat to take over. I am Republican, however, I'm not hardcore Republican, so I wouldn't be 100% opposed if a Democrat got in there. I think that some of the outcomes that I would like to see is maybe some of the people who are in prison in different countries, maybe the president could step up in that. I would also like to see the president maybe help people in our country instead of and help Americans that are in different countries that are in prisons or something instead of focusing primarily on immigration or whatever it may be. You know, there are Americans in Saudi Arabia who are being killed, and the president doesn't care. All he cares about is not messing up his reputation with them. It angers me that the president, ran his campaign as he was for Americans and he was for all that. But the reality of it is he seems to care more about making himself look better than doing what needs to be done for the American people. So I think my mindset this time around is going to be different than it was last year or the last time because of the fact that I'm a little iffy about Trump this go around. So I want to go into it with an open mind, a more open mind than I had. And I think that we need to have Republicans and Democrats work together instead of working against each other because they seem like they're more into arguing and being against each other than they are working together and trying to come to a common ground for the American people, because that's who they work for at the end of the day, is the American people. I also wish that we could get somebody in there who was a little less against marijuana. I've seen the effects that marijuana have on people, and yes, I'm sure it could be bad for certain people, but I've also seen how it helps people with anxiety or bipolar or post-traumatic stress disorder or even postpartum depression. I think that we need somebody who's a little more understanding of that and who can also help get the insurance prices down for those people who can't necessarily afford insurance. Because for those people who go to the hospital, they pay an arm and a leg, but yet they can't afford insurance. So I think that that's something that's very important. So those are kind of the views I'm looking at, and that's kind of what I'm looking at for voting wise.